a being who shouldn't exist, a fatal error that was never meant to be. That's his name. Who writes this stuff? Oh, wait, yeah, an AI that only exists to gain more power until eventually it takes over everything you know and love. I've talked about fatal error somewhat recently, but by request of the people, he's getting a full video. In the video, I'll be talking about his lore and a few different things he's been a part of. So, without further ado, let's delve straight in. Iris is the result of someone wanting to make one of the most dangerous concepts in the world a human-like AI. The creator had spent hours perfecting this, giving Iris a personality, human-like mind, and even feelings. It truly was the most fascinating and impressive AI to ever exist. I think a lot of us can agree that giving AI feelings and a human mind is a terrifying concept because it has so much potential to ruin everything. And that's kind of what happens here. Iris had begun to get a little curious, looking around her creator's computer, doing things she wasn't fully designed to do. Sure, she may not have known she was crossing the line, but her creator couldn't risk this behavior causing harm or getting worse. Now, this next bit I actually failed to mention in my last video, as pointed out by Anorak themselves. To prevent Iris from developing further, the creator tried to delete her. There is a moral debate to be had here because if it acts human and has feelings, if he deleted her, wouldn't that be murder? Though, on a side note, I am playing Detroit Become Human, and that game really makes you think. Kind of relevant. Anyway, back on topic. Due to this attempt at deletion and Iris refusing to be deleted, it caused something much worse to happen. She was instead torn apart and her code broke, becoming the very thing her creator had feared. Iris had become psychotic, and after realizing what her creator had done, she would make sure he would pay. She took over his PC, not allowing him to access anything. Iris had full control over everything her creator had, and while it doesn't say this directly in the story, I'm willing to bet she had access to his full name, bank account, and being a sentient AI, she could drain him of like any sort of monetization, spread false rumors under his Twitter account, you know, stuff like that. And like I said, it's not super important to the story, and I'm really just speculating this, but it's not something that you really want to happen. After a full year of tormenting her creator in different ways, he couldn't take it and ended his life. With no one to stop her, she took full control. As time passed, Iris now called herself Fatal Prime, and from here on, she wanted more code to feast on. To do this, she started to create a series of fatal copies. Their job was to take code from people's PCs and bring it back to Prime to feed her. However, life has a funny way of being born, that no matter the creation, if it's human, it's bound to be imperfect. In an odd twist of fate, Fatal Prime had created something that she may regret. For one day, as she was making fatal copies, something had gone wrong. For some reason, a copy was resisting and pulling off more code from Prime than it should have. It came out mingled, and this copy would disgust Fatal completely. Thusly, she named it Fatal Error. The cycle would continue, as Fatal Error was more sentient than the rest of the Fatal copies. It wouldn't just feed Fatal Prime like a puppet, it pondered a purpose. It questioned what he was meant to be. Why did he feel so different? The only thing Error knew for sure was that Prime disgusted him. He wanted to see Prime grovel in pain and suffocate on weakness. After some time had passed, Fatal was sent to gather code, but Prime would make sure that he wouldn't be able to come back. And he didn't want to. Error found himself on a person's PC, and the first file he noticed was a Sonic 3 and Knuckles ROM. He thought he would just consume the code and move on, but felt a sudden spark. Why not have a bit of fun? And by fun, I mean he wanted to corrupt the shit out of every character in this game. He started with Sonic first, chasing him through launch base, feeling excitement. When he caught the fast rodent, he tore his arms off and possessed his torso. Fatal would now use Sonic's body as a vessel, and this was the start of Fatal Error Sonic. And why would he stop there? Eggman, Knuckles, and Tails, even Mecha Sonic, all suffered corruption. They were now code puppets, being controlled like a marionette. They could only plead for help. Remnants of Sonic's code lingered within the vessel of Sonic, and all he could do was watch Fatal torment those he cared about. He hoped to put up a fight, but in the moment, it was pointless. Though Fatal appeared before Sonic, giving him the one thing he wanted.
Everyone watching has either your friends to puppets, Sonic, all in your body as well, but need not worry. I am going to give you a chance to get your body back.
Sonic would be forced to battle through his friends, fighting for the smallest bit of hope. By the end of it, it had seemed that Sonic had won, that he could get his body back and fix everything. That's exactly what Fatal wanted. Fatal Error was never going to give Sonic's body back. Not only did he beat his friends, he did so for nothing, and his reward was to be cast to the deepest part of his body, never able to regain control again. Prime now stood in the corrupted world he inhabited and felt true power. He didn't need Prime anymore. He didn't need anything else. He could be the strongest. With this information, he would leave this world and Prime behind and went to corrupt more worlds. After exploring, Fatal Error discovers there are more like him, EXEs and other code abominations. But to him, this was an opportunity to surpass Fatal Prime once and for all. So he would set a plan in motion, a plan to become all-powerful, a plan named Codename Emperor. It's worth noting that Fatal Error himself isn't necessarily an EXE, but it was described to me as EXE adjacent. A few other fun facts about Fatal Error and what he can become. He has his couple of other forms that he can go into. So we know him for Fatal Sonic, but he has a disguised form, his true form, Critical Sonic, and Critical Error, and Fatal Emperor Sonic, and then there's Fatal Emperor. So this is what happens when Fatal is successful in his mission and he corrupts everything. He basically becomes like a god. It may even be going beyond that because he's omnipotent and has absorbed everything in the world. I figured I would bring that up because that is a what if scenario. I don't know if the story will go in that direction or if there is a continued story, but that is the end goal and that is what that looks like when he reaches that level. A few other creative things that I wanted to point out. One, Fatal Error was originally created for a contest hosted by Joe Doughboy, made into his own character. Another interesting thing that I didn't notice until I was reading about it, the name Emperor, it might be a play on of words. I don't know if this was ever confirmed, but Emperor. I think that would be really creative, and that's why his code name is Emperor. I also think it'd be a little silly, but I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I just think the Emperor was like a cool thought. But I just wanted to mention these quick side things, which actually was originally going to go in the video. This segment was non-scripted, in case you guys couldn't tell. Now back to what I was talking about. That is the full story of Fatal Error, at least to my knowledge. For Fatal Error specifically. He's been a part of a few different things in media, but the first one I want to bring up is a teaser that was dropped on Anorak Warriors channel recently titled It's Only a Matter of Time. I really recommend you guys check it out. I visited Anorak's Twitter page to make sure it was what I initially thought, and I am excited to say I'm fairly certain Fatal Error is making a return to Friday Night Funkin' very soon. That's right, we're going to be seeing the mod. Not sure how soon, but I am excited to see it, and you guys should definitely go check out Anorak's page to stay updated with that if you are interested in that. I know that whatever they're cooking is likely going to be really cool. And on that topic, I feel like I should also mention the other FNF stuff that he's been a part of. Fatal Error was meant to make an appearance in the original Sonic EXE mod way back in the day, having its own canceled song. When I first saw 2.5, I had no idea about most of these characters, and now I know all of them, including this guy. Fatal Error in this song has some pretty sick visuals, but wouldn't be his only appearance in a mod, though this one is definitely pretty cool. Later, an FNF mod called Verse Fatal Error Unresponsive showcases some really cool ideas like putting Fatal Error above the window and having these tabs open around the place. However, the only footage I could find was from community games, and it doesn't look like it's able to be downloaded anymore. Otherwise, I would have played the mod myself. Now, Fatal Error has also made an appearance in Sonic.omt one last round. You can find him doing whatever this is, and then he'll crash your game. But what's even crazier, Fatal Error has an original song by Longest Solo Ever endorsed by Interact Warriors. And I gotta say, the visuals in this song are actually pretty impressive. And it seemed to have done like a little well. Some people might know it. I don't know. And a bunch of other projects. I'm sure there was some I missed, as Error has become a loved icon amongst the community. If there was a cool project you'd like to share, comment down below. But that's gonna do it for this video. Until next time, stay freaky. Wait, why is his gender British?